it's amazing to me when people leave the dealership, and all of a sudden, all their friends and family members are experts in automotive.
Always.
And they'll go, "Oh, you paid too much for that car, or you shouldn't have done this. You should have." And they're all experts.
Right.
You know, a dealership. You know, as a salesperson, you can sell thousands of cars per year, but all of a sudden, you know, Uncle Joe is an expert on car sales. He's going to tell you did it wrong.
I wanted to ask, because the reason why I asked about you, where did you start? You mentioned you could have a GED, and I'm really asking. I have a son who's 22, so I'm kind of trying to push him into different whatever I could get him to. And you mentioned something about a training program.
So what I left the retail side. So I was been fortunate enough to manage some really cool dealerships. I was general sales manager and sales manager for Mercedes-Benz dealerships. I actually met my wife at a Lexus dealership. Yeah. So she was shopping for a Lexus, and that's how. Yeah. Right. So the car business is an incredible industry. If you have the type of personality where you want to help people, like you have good communication skills, right? You're somebody who's open to being on the phone. I just heard something recently where these I don't know if it's millennials or Gen Zers or whatever, they have a hard time making appointments. Just getting on the phone. That's one thing I did with my kids at an early age. I would have them order. They wanted pizza. I'm like, all right, order it.
Right.
And I get them on the phone.
People are used to texting and
everything's Uber Eats, texting, whatever it is.
The digital world.
I heard something where doctors and dentists are having a hard time calling clients.
It's true.
Just to touch base and say, hey, this is what's going on, because nobody wants to answer their phone.
No, it's
like,
weird.
why are you calling me? Like, text me.
Yeah.
So it's a skill set. And I have a son who's 27 who's amazing, and he's a good person.
Right.
So that's what I look for in people when I'm interviewing somebody for automotive. One, do I feel they care? Right? That's my big thing. I ask questions like, do they play any sports? Because sales is a team environment. So I think that's important. If you're athletic, understanding that you have to put in work outside of the game itself. Right? So there's so much work that happens before you actually play the game.
Really?
Whether in basketball.
Well, I know you do all the training and stuff.
Well, that's what it is. The same thing in any sales industry. You have to know your product.
Oh,
so you want them to show up with a certain skill before they can even go into the training program?
Absolutely, yeah. And also being in sports teaches you. We had somebody just recently on one of our calls where he talked about, being in sales taught him how to deal with disappointment. And you're not going to sell every customer a car. And you have to be able to move to the next one and not carry that with you over to the next customer, because that can hurt the experience. So if he cares about people and he really wants to grow and commit to getting better at it, because it is something that continuously takes improvement and understanding, you can make a very, very good living in the automotive industry. Very good.
So tell us about the training program, because that's interesting, because like we were saying earlier, that sometimes we don't all encounter good salespeople, right? And it's a skill that can be taught, correct?
Absolutely.
So tell us about this program.
I left retail. I left a really great job at Mercedes-Benz, making very good money, to start a training company for the automotive. This has always been my passion. I have always said, when you get to a certain point, send the elevator back down. Right? So we want to continue to develop people in this space and make it a better space where people don't feel uncomfortable. Like you said, like, I can feel your anxiety. You're not even buying a car right now. You just started talking about it. And I can feel like she's like hiding her purse.
I don't blame her.
She's like, they're going to take my money.
Unfortunately, I've had bad experiences at car dealerships,
So we want to change that. And so what we did is I launched a company called Automotive Mentorship. I didn't name it, the Charvet Group. I didn't name it, anything. I wanted to be about the people in the community, where they can also come back and give back to other people who are in the industry. So we do some really cool work, and we teach sales, customer experience training. Really, it's sales through customer experience.
So is it okay? Is it like a course, or is it?
Yeah, so we do in-person training, and we are launching an online program also.
Oh, wow.
So people will be able to sign up. If you want to get into the automotive industry, you can make six figures very easily. in the automotive industry.
And you say you don't need a degree.
I have a GED. I have a what I call a good enough diploma. I had my son at an early age. Immigrant parents, hardworking parents, where I learned so much from them.
Yes.
As far as putting in that work ethic.
Exactly.
And my mother used to say things like, "It's better to be 20 minutes early than 2 minutes late."
That's right.
That's the way I've always looked at things.
too.
Dress for the position you want, not the position you have.
Yes.
Yes.
So these are things that were instilled in me, and I saw in my parents, and they just paid off for me. I mean,
And this is so just to be understanding, this training is focused on helping people sell cars.
correct. So we are initially starting out in the automotive industry. That's my
But
space.
you are going to branch out, I'm sure.
That's something we're in talks. Right now, we want to focus mainly on
Mainly on
automotive.
that.
I do get people who call me for different industries to do customer experience training,
Yeah.
but automotive that's where my passion is.
Okay.
So we started the company, and we started in January of 2020.
Oh, wow.
So I
dear.
left this
Right
really,
during the pandemic.
I left a really great paying
Right.
job to start this, and having a family and,
Oh,
and,
my.
being recently, married and everything. It was just one of those things that, all right, this is what we're going to do. And then
Right.
the world shut down.
Yes.
Yes.
So trying to talk to dealerships about investing in training, they were like, well, we don't know if we're going to close our doors. Like, we don't know if we're going to stay
Yes.
open. We don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
And then the market shifted and pricing was going through the roof, right? It was
Yeah.
like you couldn't even get a car.
Right, I
Right.
remember.
So pricing was incredible. Like, it was incredibly high. And dealerships were like, we don't need training right now. We're good. We're making all the money.
Yeah.
Which is probably when they should have invested more so in training.
Exactly.
Because I know a lot of customers were turned off to the buying
Yeah.
process at that point, right? So we had to kind of pivot, and customers doing business the way I did business for 20 plus years, customers would just call me for vehicles.
Oh, how wonderful.
So yeah, I just, during the pandemic, while we were home and everything was shut down, customers were calling me saying, "Hey, my lease is up. What do I do?"
Wow.
And I would say, "All right, let me make a phone call." And then when I worked out deals with dealerships where, as long as they give me aggressive pricing, like really aggressive, like bottom line pricing,
Right.
we would help connect them and the consumer.
So
Okay.
how do you think about that when you think about purchasing a car? Is it leasing? Is it purchase it outright? Make a payments? I mean, what are but I know there's many ways to own a car, but to me, it's like, I don't know. Is it better to just buy a car outright, used, or is it leasing it, or is
So
it?
this
I
is
mean,
a,
it's
this
very
is the
complicated.
so that is one of the questions that we get all the time. What is better, leasing or finance?
Right.
And I'll tell you this. Okay, there is no better. Okay,
Okay.
Leasing is not better than financing. Financing is not better than leasing. It's all based on your personal needs. Okay, on what you're going to be using the vehicle for. What might be good for you may not be right for you.
Right.
Because if you do the usage of the car, you may like to change cars every 3 years. You may like to keep cars 8, 9, 10 years. So it's all based on personal preference.
Long distance driving is not good for leasing, right?
See, that's a huge misconception
Is
that I
it?
hear a lot of. Absolutely.
Because I thought
Yeah.
they give you a certain contract, certain amount of mileage.
And,
Yeah, me
And the
too.
wear and tear. Of
Yeah.
So this is a really big
Give it to us,
mistake that
Christy.
people make.
Give it to us.
So my theory is, when you are doing high mileage, right? Now let's say if you're doing 15,000 miles a year, 16, 17,000 miles a year, that's considered high mileage, especially in this area,
Right.
right? To me, I believe that leasing makes more sense than financing. And the reason why is because I know my true cost of ownership. I see how you leaned in. I like
Yeah,
that.
I
This is
tell
like-
you,
this is like-
that's
wait,
why.
this is like for
You're
me.
kidding me.
So
No, I was thinking because I heard there's
penalties?
how you say highway mileage.
That's irrelevant.
different
No,
from-
it doesn't matter. You could drive it on the
City
beach if you want. You
miles,
can drive
whatever.
it. Mileage is mileage on the vehicle. But let's just say, all right, so I'll give you an example. So if I'm driving 15,000 miles a year, yes, and that's normally more than most people drive. Let's say most people drive 10 to 12,000 miles
Right.
per year. Your payment is going to be higher, okay? Because the estimated value of the vehicle at the end of that lease is going to be lower
Correct.
because you put more mileage on it, right?
Yeah.
So the depreciation is more. So
Right.
on a lease, you pay depreciation. So once that vehicle has that high mileage, let's just say you're financing it,
Right.
you've accelerated the depreciation of that vehicle and you still owe money on that car.
Ooh.
Okay, so now you're getting into brakes, tires, maybe your warranty is expired. Let's
Yeah.
just say, depending how many miles your warranty has. And then there comes another cost factor, and you don't necessarily know what that vehicle's worth. Let's just say the vehicle was in an accident. So I make this analogy. If me and my neighbor are both in the market for a vehicle, and we both same car. We go to a dealership. I lease my car for 3 years. He buys his car. He finances his vehicle for 72 months, 60 months, whatever.
Right.
And I'm driving my car 15,000 miles a year. I know exactly what my payment is going to be for the next 36 months, right? Maybe I have to put on tires or brakes, but I have an idea, a very close idea as far as what my true cost of ownership is going to be. My neighbor, he's financing the vehicle. So we know on a finance, the interest is front loaded, right? So your payments are primarily going towards interest before you're knocking down your principal.
Right.
Okay, so as that vehicle is depreciating, he's paying interest to the bank. I'm paying depreciation. There is a service charge or a interest factor that's built into the lease. But let's just say the garbage truck comes down the block and it hits both of our cars. Just side swipe. Not totals, but it side swipes both cars. We both go to another neighbor who owns our body shop. He fixes our cars. And we both go through insurance. Both cars are fixed. I don't really care that my car was damaged because I'm going to be giving it back. Him, on the other hand, or her, on the other hand, has to now worry about what is my car now worth because it has damage to it. It has a bad Carfax or whatever the case may be, right? So now the value of his vehicle dropped. We're both doing the same amount of mileage. He's accelerating his depreciation. Now the damage comes into place. What about technology? All of a sudden, a new model comes out. So the value of our vehicles both drop again because a new technology is out, things of that nature. So he's still paying into the finance. Meanwhile, my lease is up. I'm also paying a fraction of what he's paying because he's financing the entire vehicle plus the taxes on the entire vehicle. And on a lease, you only pay taxes on the portion.
So this sounds like leasing is better.
See, it depends on the situation. Now, if he says to me, well, Christian, I plan on paying off the vehicle in 2 years and just keeping this car until the wheels fall off, that's a great situation for him.
Yeah, that's
see
a
what I mean?
better deal.
Because he's not paying all that interest money to the bank, which could be, sometimes $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 in
I
interest.
think my grandfather did that. He would buy Cadillacs as a lease, and every 3 years just switch it over. He loved driving that car, and he loved that new kind of newish.
Not to mention that, you know what, it's sad to say in the sense that cars aren't made to last as long, I think, for some vehicles. And again, that technology change and things getting, it used to be that you didn't want a car that didn't have navigation. And now no cars have navigation because everything's on your phone.
I know.
Right? So all these things come into play, and it's just a lot of moving targets.
I don't like these new cars with no keys.
Really?
Keyless.
The keyless? I don't like taking my key out of my pocket. So,
Yeah. So with all these new technologies, because you mentioned that with the new cars, I'm still driving a Honda CR-V.
Hello.
2011.
Wow.
Okay. That's my beauty. Good on gas. I always get parking in the city.
So the wheels fall off, right?
I'm in the market to buy a new car, right? But nothing feels good than not paying a car payment. I mean, my car is already paid for.
Smart.
And I'm looking because I want to treat myself for my birthday, another car. And I know I asked before, what's a good car to buy? In your opinion, you said Hondas keep their value.
Hondas keep great values. They're great cars, very reliable. The technology is great.
Yes.
That's just a car that it's gonna.
Parts are
do
reasonable, right?
Yes.
You're not gonna pay crazy.
Absolutely. So we definitely have great relationships. Some of the dealerships that we train are some of the biggest Honda dealerships in the country, and they do incredible stuff. So anything you ever need, you let me know. But
What should people who are interested in buying a car? There's two things I want to ask you. What should they do in terms of their credit, where they are with money, bringing down payments,
Sure.
and then we'll talk about your course. What a future person out there who's watching me say, oh, maybe I need some skill sets.
Sure. Talking about that real quick, and I was going to mention this before, is, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly. I think that's so true.
And I'll tell you something, I found out that the hard way.
It's a lot of work, right?
It's not just a matter of like, hey, I have a great idea and I want to start. There's so much pain that comes along with it.
There's a ton of pain.
So not everybody wants to be that self-employed, like own my own business type person, but they want to make a certain income. And I'll be honest, in the automotive industry, I like to call it an intrapreneur instead of an entrepreneur, meaning you're self-employed inside the dealership.
Yeah.
So the dealership's providing the building, the lights, the the phones,
product.
the product, the leads. You're not paying for marketing unless you obviously want to invest in
Right.
yourself and do some self, branding
Right.
on social media, things like that. But essentially everything is taken care of that as an entrepreneur you would have to worry about before you
Yeah.
actually open the door for business, right?
Right.
And then it's all based on you.
Mm-hmm.
How good are you going to be at taking care of your client, knowing your product, getting your product out to the consumers,
Right.
connecting your product to their problem, which is a big aspect of it. So, and like I said, you can make six figures. You can
Wow.
make well into the six figures if you do the job right, moving up. I know people who started out as a receptionist and she just sold her dealership. She
My
ended up
goodness.
owning and selling. She's fantastic. I worked right across from her. Her name
Wow.
is Janet. If she sees this,
I think
she's
I wanna
Okay.
a,
Yeah.
she's
Money
a
Bucks
classic.
Janet.
There you go.
I think I'm switching careers
But
today.
she literally started. She was selling shoes in
Oh
Queens,
my.
and then we got into the
What?
automotive
Okay.
industry. Moved her way up.
Wow.
Her clients love her. She does an incredible job, and
That's
she went on to
amazing.
move up to management and ended up owning her own dealership, and just recently
Fantastic.
sold it. So, again,
That's
this
inspiring.
is something that I would have never thought was possible.
Yeah.
But if you do the business the right way, and she's a true testament to that.
Great.
That what's possible in automotive. So that's what we were trying to explain.
Right.
So give us some more about this course if people wanted to reach out to you.
So it's automotive mentorship on all platforms. Our website's automotive mentorship.
Okay, we'll put
Are
that
you
in
on
the show
social?
notes.
Sure.
On social media.
Yeah,
as
on
well?
social media, there's an Instagram page,
Okay.
on TikTok. That's something that we're continuing to grow.
Wonderful.
That's where I'm also improving is the social media aspect of it, getting the message out there, right?
Do you have someone managing your social
So
media?
so right now we're just brought somebody on board who's gonna be handling our social media, which is great.
Great.
Yeah, I'm old
Right.
school, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
We're old school.
it's one of those things, getting in front of the camera and putting
Yeah.
that content
Yes.
out there. Right?
Absolutely.
I tell people, don't overjudge it, right? When
No, you
a-
have to just let go.
I have a dear friend of mine. He's a number one motivational speaker in the world, Eric Thomas.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
we know Eric Thomas.
ET
his books,
is
I read,
ET is a dear friend of mine, and CJ. They're all
Awesome.
great friends of mine. And one thing I realized is in his videos, right, you really connect with his video, right? And I asked myself the question, right, what was he wearing? What
You
did the
don't
background
remember.
look like? Right? What was the sound like? I
Right,
don't
right.
remember.
You
those
don't
things.
remember.
It's true.
I remember how he made me feel,
Right.
and that's what I realized. All right, I
That's
got to stop
always the key.
overthinking these things
Yes.
and just focus on
That's
delivering
true.
that
Yes.
message.
That's what
That's
That's
Maya
beautiful.
Angelou's quote, right?
That's right.
People-
You don't remember
people
what they say. You
but
remember,
Remember
how they
made you
feel.
feel.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, so they can contact us, and
Okay.
what we want to do is be able to get people into the automotive industry who really care about taking care of clients, and we can teach them how to deliver on the experience,
Great.
and obviously coach them through sales. And then it's not just bring them into the industry, but we do ongoing coaching with them as well.
Wonderful.
Good.
That
And the name
sounds good.
of your
So my other company is Primo Auto Group. So that's the
And
company
where
that we
you
ended up
located?
starting. That we're based out of Queens,
Okay.
but we deliver the cars all over the country. We've
Oh,
actually
wow.
shipped cars to California,
Yeah.
Atlanta. Yeah. So what we do is we shop around for the customer, make sure we're getting
Oh,
them, bottom line
fantastic.
pricing, and take away any uncertainty
Oh,
or,
okay.
or stress that
I
they may
love
have in
that.
buying the vehicle. Right, that anxiety that you
Yes.
have
Yeah.
going
Yes.
into a dealership. We kind of eliminate that whole step, and then we bring the car out right to your home or
Perfect.
office. So that
Wow.
literally that
I love
business
that.
that business was born out of the things that we teach
Wow.
in automotive, which is in automotive mentorship, which is really just provide an incredible experience for your customer. Be honest, be upfront, and be knowledgeable.
Wow.
And if you can do that,
That's a
you'll
key.
be successful.
Well, we're going to conclude all of your information in the
Can I
show
ask
notes.
my famous question?
One more famous question.
What do you do for
Mm-hmm.
self-care? Like, how do you relax and
That's a great
take care of
question.
yourself?
So I'll tell you something. One thing that I've recently done is get closer to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll tell
wow.
you something. I just saw Him being
That's
more deliberate
so
in my life.
beautiful.
Wow.
I've always
That's
been
heavy.
very.
Yes.
I was raised Catholic,
Mm.
and I always believed in God, but I just never really
Yes.
connected with church. But I found a beautiful church in Queens that
Hallelujah.
it's absolutely been an incredible
beautiful.
experience. And I have
Wonderful.
Saints Church, if anybody wants to
That's
check it out. It's just an
beautiful.
incredible place where the people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just something that connected with me. And I just saw Him being more deliberate in things in my life.
Yep.
Speaking
And
to you.
and I just
Mm-hmm.
I just be like, I saw that. I saw that, and then I realized,
key.
yeah, and then
Right.
I just said, all right, now you're showing off. I was
That's
like,
what
wait a
they say.
minute.
Look
Like,
at
now you're
God,
showing
right?
off a bit. So
There's a quote that I've always keep in my hand. I wrote it in my journal, and I say it every night. God, show me how good this can get.
Oh,
Amen.
100%.
And he
Ooh, I
always
like
shows
that.
and he
Amen.
wants you to live an
Yes.
abundant life.
Exactly.
And that's what I've noticed, and
Yes.
So that's
it,
just
it,
self-care.
that to me, as much as difficult as starting 2 businesses during the pandemic, I have 3 boys
Oh,
who
wow.
are 27, 16, and 12
Oh,
who are
my.
amazing people.
Lovely.
I'm blessed to have a beautiful wife who
Oh.
is a school teacher. She teaches kids with learning disabilities,
Wonderful.
and
good.
I really, as stressful as life can be,
Right.
I just realized that it's more good than bad.
Right.
Amen.
And just if you
Yes.
take a deep
You're
breath
grateful.
Yep.
and
See
you
the good.
just slow things down a little bit.
Exactly.
Yes.
All good
It'll
things will happen.
always
Smell those
lead you
roses,
to the right place.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
So that's my
Without a
big thing.
doubt. Oh.
That's that and family,
Beautiful.
having people around make you laugh.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Those
right.
are the
Beautiful.
keys. So, and a good skincare routine.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, you don't get a massage, Christian?
Perfect.
No, good
Absolutely.
skincare routine.
You know,
Drink a
people-
lot of
people
water.
always talk about women's self-care, but men
I always
enjoy
wonder,
too.
like, what does a man do for
Oh,
self-care?
there's a lot to do.
You gotta moisturize. You gotta moisturize.
That's right.
Drink a lot of water.
There you
Drink
go.
a lot of water.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
we
And
just
Good.
love it, Christian. You have been just amazing.
thank you
Yes.
so
Thank
much.
you
It's
so
I gotta tell you, thank you so much for having me. It really was a pleasure.